In the Anattalakkhana Sutta, Buddha said, Vedana anatta. When you practice vipassana meditation continuously with your personal knowledge, you come to realize that feeling is that which makes a momentary appearance, only to vanish away soon. So feeling is transitory and not self, not ego, which is to be regarded as permanent. So here at this time, we want to include Anattalakkhana Sutta in our discourse as it provides good illustration of how such realization comes about. However, we must first begin with an account of how the Venerable Sariputra, which was chiefly concerned with the Anattalakkhana Sutta, attained to higher knowledge. Two young men, Upadesa and Kolita, who were later to become known as the Venerable Sariputra and Venerable Moggallana, respectively, became wandering ascetics under the teacher Sanjaya. Because they don't want to have aging, sickness and death. So they learned all that had to be taught them by the teacher Sanjaya in a few days' time. And they came to realize that there was no substance in the teaching of Sanjaya. Consequently, the two of them left the teacher Sanjaya and roamed about the entire middle country in further search of truth. Finding the truth nowhere, they made their way back to the city of Rajagaha. It was in the city that the wanderer Upadesa came upon the Venerable Asiji, the youngest member of the group of 5 bhikkhus, while he was going on alms round. Upadesa followed him closely to where he would eat his meal after the round. Upadesa prepared the seat for him and offered him drinking water from his water bottle. When the meal was over, Upadesa asked the Venerable Asiji who his teacher was and what was his master teaching. The Venerable Asiji replied, "My teacher is the perfectly enlightened Buddha. As for the teaching, since I have just come to the Buddha's dispensation, I knew only a little for it." Then Upadesa said, "Please tell me whatever little you know of the teaching. I shall expand upon it myself. Upadisa asked. Thereupon the Venerable Asiji told the wanderer Upadisa the short summary of the Buddha teaching. Ye Dhamma hetu pabhava te sanhetung tathagato aha te sincha yo nirodo evam vadi mahasamano. Ye Dhamma, there are these Dhamma. There is dukkha, truth of suffering, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing. Have arisen because of certain causes, samudaya sitya. Our master, the perfect one, has told about these causes. And there is this state, there is state of nirvana, where all these dhamma, all these dukkha, all these suffering and their causes come to cessation. The perfect one has told this cessation too. It is the teaching of our master, the blessed noble Samana. Venerable Asiji told Wanderer Upadisa. It is very short account of the teaching given by the Venerable Asiji. Very brief. In this teaching, there are resultants to a certain cause. Our master had taught about the causes, but this condensed teaching was sufficient for the wanderer Upadisa to see the light of Dhamma, although the teaching delivered by the Venerable Asiji was brief. It contained the illuminating message for development of Vipassana insight knowledge. Prior to the teaching of the Buddha, it was generally held that each individual being has a living entity and inner substance, a self which is everlasting and permanent. This living entity is not that which has just arisen, depending on causes. It has been in permanent existence, embodiment of eternity. Now the message given by the Venerable Asiji was the effect that there was no such permanent entity, there was no such permanent atta. There was only the truth of suffering, the suffering of Namarupa, mind and matter, which are the resultant of tanha, craving and clinging, otherwise called the truth of origin or suffering. So these resultant effect of samudaya sacca, the origin of suffering, are none other than nama rupa, mind and matter of our own person, which are involved in acts of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing. So the wanderer Upatissa, who would later become the Venerable Sariputra, realized at once, captured the meaning very immediately. He realized that there was only the process of continuous arising and disappearing of Nama-rupa, which have been manifesting themselves in every act of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing since the time of birth. They have arisen as a result of craving for and clinging to his own life and existence. So it should be regarded that the wanderer Upadesa developed Vipassana insight knowledge by taking note of the phenomena of change, even as he was listening the message from the Venerable Asiji. So delivering this short sermon as taught by the Buddha, Venerable Asiji directly indicated that there were only cause and effect, but no soul that exists forever or for a limited period between womb and tomb. So ye dhamma hetu bhava, they are seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing. What is the origin of seeing? Where does seeing have its origin? The origin is tanha, craving, and the seeing has its origin in the combination of eyes, visible form, attention, and the light. So the first three factors, eye sensitivity, retina, visible form, and the attention, are actually necessary condition for the seeing. If you get short of any of them, you're gonna see at all, or in other words, the seeing cannot arise at all. So when these four conditions are met, seeing comes into existence. So the seeing exists only at the moment of seeing, neither before nor after. Common people cannot understand this causality of psychophysical phenomena, and they think I am seeing, it is I who see. However, in the ultimate sense, seeing is not an individual, but a certain kinds of phenomenon that newly arises only at that very moment of seeing, but not ahead of that seeing moment. And immediately afterwards, seeing disappear. So every moment of seeing is a new seeing. Every moment of hearing, every moment of smelling, every moment of tasting, touching, and thinking are new phenomena. So they are phenomena that have their origin in the causes. The origin of the seeing is mainly Dana, but here also due to an eye, there arises seeing, due to an visible form, there arises seeing, and due to the attention, there arises seeing, and due to the light, there arises seeing. They are the origin. Chakuncha patecha rupecha upijati chakuvinyana. Based on eye sensitivity and visible form, there arises seeing consciousness. This is a summarized principle which can be elaborated by means of paticca samuppada, dependent origination. So ye dhamma hetu pabhava te sanhetum tathagato aha te sinjayo nirodo evam vadi mahasamano. We have to explain by ways of paticca samuppada. So we have to read paticca samuppada Pali. Open your book. Page 107. Anuloma Pali in due order, order of arising. Can you follow me? Avijja Vijja Singara. Singara Vijja Vinyanam. Vinyana Vijja Namarupam. Namarupa Vijja Salayadanam. Salayadana Vijja Bhaso. Phasa Vijja Vedana. Vedana Vijja Dana. Dana Vijja Upadana. Upadana Vijja Bhava. Bhava Vijja Jati. Jati Vijja Jaramaranam. Soka Paridewa Dukkha Domana Supayasa Sambhavanti Eva Metasa Kevalasa Dukkha Kandasa Samudaya Hodi. We recite together. Veja Vijaya Singara Singara Vijaya Vinyanam Vinyana Vijaya Namarupa Namarupa Vijaya Salayarana Salayarana Vijaya Bhaso Phasa Vijaya Vedana Vedana Vijaya Dana Dana Vijaya Upadana Upadana Vijaya Bhava Bhava Vijaya Jati Jati Vijaya Jaramaranam Soka Paridewa Dukkha Domana supayasa sambhavanti eva metasa kevalasa dukkha khandasa samudaya hoti. Translation, we read together. Dependent on ignorance, arise karmic volition. So whenever Asiji delivered this short sermon, we have to understand Paticcasamuppada because it is causal relationship. So in this Paticcasamuppada dependent origination, there are 12 factors. How many 12 factors? 12 factors. Avijja, Sankhara, Vijnana, Namarupa, Salayana, Phassa, Vedana, Tanna, Upadana, Bhava, Jati, Jara, Marana. So altogether 12. We don't count Soka, Parideva, Dukkha, Domanassa, Upayasa as factors because Soka, sorrow, Parideva, lamentation, etc. are not avoidable. They can be avoided. Some deities and human beings, they have no sorrow, they have no lamentation. And Brahma, they have no sorrow, lamentation, etc. So, Soka, Parideva, Dukkha, Domanassa, Upayasa are not counted as factors. So 12 factors in the Paticcasamuppada. Can you follow me? Avijja, Sankhara, Vijnana, Namarupa, Salayana, Phassa, Vedana, Upadana, Bhava, Jati, Jara, Marana. So Avijja, ignorance, Sankhara, dependent, karmic evolution, Vijnana, consciousness, Namarupa, mind, matter, Salayana, six and bases, Phassa, contact, Vedana, feeling, Tanna, craving, Upadana, clinging, Bhava, existence of volition, Jati, birth, Soka, sorrow, Parideva, lamentation, or sorrow not counted, only just Jati, Jara, Marana, or 12 factors. So there are 12 factors in the Paticcasamuppada. And what are the causes? What are the causes? Causes are mainly tanha. So there are 5 causes in the past. In the past, the causes are avijja, ignorance, tanha, craving, upadana, clinging, sankhara, mental formation, and kama bhava. So these are the 5 causes. Because of the ignorance, he cling, he have craving, and then he cling to this and this, and then he tried to get it, that is sankhara and kama bhava. So 5 causes are tanha, upadana, avijja, sankhara, and kama bhava. Because of the 5 causes, because he have done deeds in the past, and because of the kilesa, he reborn in another life, and there we come present results. 5 present results are Vijnana, Namarupa, Salayana, Phassa, and Vedana. So you can observe presently arising phenomena are present results. And present causes, in this present life, you do again tanha. Tanha is always there. They are the causes of suffering. Why they arise tanha? Because of the avijja, ignorance. Because of this ignorance, he have craving, and then he cling to this and that, upadana, and then he try to get it, that is kama bhava and sankhara. So if he have tanha, upadana, kama bhava and sankhara, he will be reborn in the future. There will come jati, rebirth. If there is rebirth, there will arise Vijnana, Namarupa, Salayana, Phassa, and Vedana, and surely he will have aging and death. Jati, Jara, Marana are future results. So there are 5 causes for the past and 5 results in the present. And if the person have causes in the present again, there are 5 causes in the present, and future there will come results. Future results are 5 also. So cause and effect, you can see our life cycle. Because of the tanha mainly causes, and this cycle is going on and on and on. So 5 causes in the past. Can you follow me? 5 causes in the past. Avijja, sankhara, tanha, upadana, kama bhava. So you understand avijja, ignorance, tanha, craving, upadana, clinging, kama bhava and sankhara, mental formation, and karma. Previous life, previous causes. Because of these 5 causes, here we are receiving present results. So what are the present results? Vijnana, Namarupa, Salayana, Phassa, Vedana. You are observing these presently arising object phenomena. These are the present results. And in the present, if he not mindful, if he do not practice, There will come Tanna and Upadana again, and also ignorance again, and then Kamabhava and Sankara again. These are the present 5 causes. Can you follow me? Present causes are Tanna, Upadana, Kamabhava, Avijja, Sankara. So if he or she doing the causes in the present, he or she will get results in the future. He will be reborn again, jati. Surely he or she will be aging and dead. And also he will get the results of Vijnana, Namarupa, Salayana, Phasa, and Vedana. Can you follow me? Future results are jati, jaramarana, Vijnana, Namarupa, Salayana, Phasa, Vedana. So because of the 5 causes, he or she get the present results, and because of the present causes, he or she will get results in the future. Now, ye dhamma hetu pabhava tesa hetung tathagato aha. When Upadisa got this message, he realized this teaching very well. It is Preja Samubhara, cause and effect. Ye dhamma, these are the phenomena. What phenomena? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing. These phenomena, what are the causes? The causes are eye sensitivity, visible object. They are the causes. Based on an eye sensitivity and visible object, there arises seeing consciousness. And also the attention is not directly mentioned here, although it is certainly there. And the light is also a supportive condition for the seeing to take place. So based on these conditions, there arises seeing. So the seeing is just a certain mental state, not I, not anyone, not a person, not a being, not a man, not a woman. If we are concurrently aware of the seeing, we can realize that the seeing is just seeing, but not any person. Obviously, there is no seeing at all times. The seeing exists only at the moment of seeing, but neither before nor after. Seeing exists only at that very moment of seeing. Meditator can appreciate this fact very well, but a non-meditator thinks he or she can see whatever he or she looks at any time, and he believes it is I who have been seeing. It is I who have been seeing throughout my life. Even meditators may have the same illusion before his or her insight knowledge is mature enough. In reality, seeing and what is seen are vanishing moment by moment. So Buddha said, Chakuncha patecha rupecha patecha upijati chakuvinyanam, dependent on eye sensitivity and visible form, there arises seeing consciousness. Tainam singati paso. The meeting of the three, eye, visible form and seeing consciousness, means the mental contact, pasa. When the three phenomena, eye, sensitivity, retina, visible form, and seeing consciousness meet, there arises the sensory contact, which is also a conditioned phenomena that has its origin in its corresponding causes. So Upatesa captured this phenomena very well. Here in the Paticca Samuppada, Salayana Pijya Paso. Salayana Pijya Paso dependent on 6 bases. Contact arise. What are the bases? Internal bases and external bases. There are six senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. They are called 6 internal organs. Corresponding to these 6, there are 6 external objects. External does not necessarily mean outside living beings. Even in living beings, there are these 6 objects. You have visible objects, sound, smell, taste, touch, and other subtle material properties. If we do not have eyes, there can be no eye contact. If we do not have ears, there can be no ear contact, and so on. So these are called bases. They are the condition for contact to arise. So Upadesa captured this point, but clearly perceive is only Buddha, because Upadesa capture and he practiced within 15 seconds. He have to become enlightened very fast, so he cannot cover everything. Passa Vijaya Vedana. Dependent on contact, there arises the feeling. Feeling arises the moment the object and consciousness interact. Pleasant feeling arises in response to a pleasant object. Unpleasant feeling arises in response to an unpleasant object. When consciousness meets an object, there arises a sensory experience of feeling, vedana. If pleasant, it is called sukha vedana, pleasurable sensation. What we call human bliss or heavenly bliss is all about this pleasant feeling or sensual pleasures. The desire for such pleasant feeling is the driving force behind all our action. So people seek delight in seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. The experience of pleasure is related to the contact of an object and consciousness. Without such sensory interactions or mental contact, there cannot arise a sensory experience of feeling. For example, there arises the painful experience only when a thorn contact with the body part. Without such a contact, there won't arise such painful feeling. The weaker the contact is, the less painful the feeling would become, whereas the stronger the contact is, the more painful the feeling would become. When you think about an unpleasant object like something undesirable or worrisome, or something missing from your life, there arises unhappiness or sadness, but not otherwise. Suppose, for example, a loved one, like his spouse, child, parents, or best friend dies somewhere in his or her absence, then he would not feel sad about it before he or she is informed of it. Last few years, my father died, and then he sent message to me. The family members sent message to me, and the message not received yet. I've no worry, but the message meet to my consciousness. I received the message, inform them, if get the information, and very sad. So the great distress would afflict the person when informed. That is about the mental contact, phassa, or the interaction of consciousness and object. Such affliction may drive him or her to be crazy or even dead. It is how the feeling arises, depending on the contact or the interaction of object and consciousness. Phassa picchaya vedana. Dependent on contact, feeling arises. In the same way, there arises pleasant feeling depending on the sensory interaction. For example, the pleasant feeling prominently arises in the people when they enjoy performance of a play at a theater or music concert. But if they sit in seats far back, they would not see, they would not hear performance or voices clearly enough, then the feeling would not arise prominently because the mental contact is very weak. So they try to get the front seat. People in the front seats may fully enjoy the play because They can clearly see and they can hear the performer's facial expression and voices clearly. And they would enjoy every moment of performance. So the pleasant feeling, Sukha Vedana, can be very prominent when the object and Chaita consciousness are properly met, when the mental contact is very prominent. It is how the feeling arises depending on the mental contact. Anyhow, feeling is just feeling. Feeling is not a person. Feeling is not a man. Feeling is not a woman. Feeling is square or circle or anything. No, feeling is a feeling. Feeling is just a phenomena. Feeling is not living entity. So feeling is about the results of the cause. Then another link, Vedana Vijayatana, dependent on the feeling, there arises craving. He or she would cherish an object that brings him or her pleasure. So there arises craving. If an object is pleasurable, he will like it, he will crave for it. On the other hand, if an object is not pleasurable, he will seek something as pleasurable. So he will stay aroused, craving from a different angle in the case of unpleasant feeling. Moreover, he or she elusively thinks that in this way, it is I who enjoy it. It is I who takes delight in it. He thinks. In an ultimate sense, however, it is not I, it is not you. It is just craving that arises depending on the feeling. It is also a phenomena that arises and vanish at that very moment. He thinks that also pleasurable, feeling is gone. As soon as he has pleasure, the pleasure gone, another feeling, another pleasure, gone. As soon as he enjoys pleasure, it is already gone. Tanapijya upadana, dependent on craving, there arises clinging. If he crave for something, he may often be lost in the thought of it. He may keep thinking whether he should do this way or that way. Thus, he become attached to that. That is what is called upadana. So the deeper his attachment to that, the more strenuously he have to walk in pursuit of that. Upadana Vijaya Bhava, dependent on clinging, there arise existence of life and volition generated rebirth. So in this Upadana Vijaya Bhava, Bhava means Kama Bhava and Upapati Bhava. Bhava means life or rebirth, but in this particular case, it refers not only to rebirth, but also karma bhava, rebirth generating volition. In order to get and possess what he craves for and what he gets attached to, he will surely act his best by all means available, whether wholesome or unwholesome, fair or unfair, legal or illegal. So there arise the volitional action that would form karma bhava. Bhava vidya jati, dependent on volitional action, there arises rebirth. On his deathbed, what we refresh? He will refresh his memory of volitional action by means of the near-death mental process that will result in rebirth immediately after the death. So this is what is meant by the phrase dependent on action, there arises rebirth, bhava vidya jati. Wholesome deeds done with clinging are conducive to be reborn in blissful realm, human or divine, whereas unwholesome deeds are conducive to be reborn in four woeful states. Jati pijaya jara maranam, soka brideva dukkha domana supayasa sambhavanti. Dependent on the rebirth, there arise aging, then death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair. As soon as he is reborn, he is destined to get old every moment, every hour, every day, every month, every year. Aging will lead to death in the end. Before death, he is subject to sorrow, lamentation, pain, and displeasure and despair under certain circumstances. So in fact, life is not something enjoyable, although people elusively take delight and pride in this life. So in this Parijja Samubhara, when you aware seeing or any other sensory reaction, is the starting point of this torturous cycle. Dependent on eye sensitivity and visible form, there arises the seeing consciousness. And the combinations of the three means the mental contact that generates the feeling, pleasant or unpleasant, and the feeling successively leads to craving, attachment, and volitional actions. In order to gain and enjoy what he loves, he or she would do countless volitional action. He have to do karma bhava. So Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw composed a verse according to this dependent origination Pali. Amamatwa Amaminga Aweza Jao Chanda Lino Yimyogoye etc. in Burmese. Translation is deviating from the right path, misleading to wrong direction. The delusion, awaja, brings a man hope for pleasure, engaging him in three kinds of deeds, which would in turn produce rebirth of mind and matter, along with six senses, leading to six contacts, six feelings, six craving and clinging, and karma that would in turn reproduce a woeful or blissful rebirth, subject to aging, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, discontent, and despair. Alas, this cycle is all about mere suffering. So the late Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw composed this verse according to the Parijjasamuppada Pali text. So people do a lot of volitional actions with hope to enjoy pleasure in the present and in the future alike for themselves and for their loved ones. So he or she happens to do a lot of volitional action, karma bhava, which is known as sankhara or karma. So karma is all he or she possesses in his or her deathbed. Karma is all he can take along with himself, but nothing else. People, when they die, they have to leave everything behind, whatever they have accumulated throughout their lives. Only inheritance they can take along with them is karma, good or bad. Karma would reappear to them on their deathbed. Good karma as a good friends of theirs, and bad karma as a bad friends of theirs. So in the new life, whatever kinds it may be, people are destined to get aging and death, and also subject to sorrow, lamentation, pain, discontent, and despair. So no life is considered to be pleasant. It is just the cycle of suffering which can be traced back to the seeing and any other sensory reaction. That is what we need to realize about the seeing. Now, ye dhamma hetu pabhava. So ye dhamma means present arising phenomena. Phenomena have their origin and causes. So ye dhamma, when the Venerable Asiji delivered, Upadesa captured very well. Ye dhamma means seeing. So present phenomena he pick up, and also he meditate. And within 15 seconds, he attained enlightenment. So we will continue tomorrow. We have to stop our discourse for today by practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses, by noting rising, falling, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, walking, standing, stretching, bending continuously and meticulously. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future.